interviewing people that have bought a product you don't sell might sound a bit ridiculous, but you can learn so much from these particular conversations. So even if it's something you don't think competes with you, actually listening to why people are buying a product can allow you to hear, actually, this is something that I sell, or maybe I don't sell it right now because I'm using different language, but actually people are buying the sort of stuff that I could help them with. And so that's exactly why I wanted to run 4 different interviews on behalf of Janis, where I'm going to go out and recruit people that have bought something entirely different. And when I first set up these recruits, I don't know what that something is. So this video is going to teach you how to build a recruitment survey from scratch so that you can put that into one of these online platforms and recruit the right people to interview. If you haven't got a product yet, or if you're coming up with something brand new, you can just literally go and lift and shift this and interview 12 to 15 people so that you get the full competitive picture. And that's how we've done some of our research in the past. So earlier on in the year, my colleague wanted to go after ESG consulting because he's very passionate about it. I ran a recruit, we worked out why people bought it, and we decided not to go there. So this is a great way to make a no-go decision, but it's also a great way to say, if I do go in, this is what I've got to deliver, and this is what people are buying. So take a look and learn how to build it. Cheers. So here is the tool that I've got. There's jobs to be done, Switch Interview Recruitment Strategist. And literally just click on this, build this particular Switch interview. And in this case, so it's asking me product or service I'm studying, companies or competitor customers I want to investigate, roles or job titles, and recruitment platforms. So this is designed for business-to-business recruit setups, and it's designed to build something that I can use directly in UserInterviews or Respondent or someone like that. So in this case, I put something here, Janis's course, for B2C students. I've given some of the competitive offerings that Janis mentioned. I didn't need to know that. I mean, it was B2C, so it didn't really matter, and we're going to use UserInterviews in this case. And so then it starts to put the scope together for me and give me the sort of pieces that I'm looking for, in this case 15 people. We're not going to interview that many because we're going to talk to Janis's customers directly. In this case, I've asked it to throw the scope open a bit wider, and I want to focus here on a B2C recruit. So I've just got to make sure that we know that this person has actually paid for this product themselves. And here we go. So we start to get these pieces here, and for UserInterviews, it formats it because they break the survey into pages, as you'll see. And so essentially from this, what are we getting? So an online course for visual communication, visual note-taking, sketching ideas. What did you actually bought? What did you buy? Sorry, get somebody to actually tell you this in their own words, because you can filter people out who've bought the wrong thing. When did you buy it? If it was over 6 months ago, for the same reason with Janis's course, we just didn't really want to talk to them. In this case, I think it's got past years accepted. I've probably set that to reject by default, because I just don't think people are going to remember this for very long. It's not like it's a massive purchase, not like buying a house or a car or something. Obviously, I want to get somebody who's paid for it themselves, reject the people who haven't, and then you capture some information here. So why did you sign up to it? Is this the first time you've signed up to these things? So sometimes I'm not too bothered if it's a different course. I don't really want somebody who signed up for the same thing twice. And then some other options here. So there's actually quite a lot of questions in here, and I've added in this, okay, I need a title and description for use, because this is how you set it up inside UserInterviews itself. So give it a description, give it a project title to communicate with people so that we can go and get those people in. Let me dive across now. So here we are. Let me move my mug out of the way here. And now we are in this particular piece here. So I'm setting up the recruitment. It's relatively straightforward, but participant source, so I want to use their panel. That's the whole reason I'm paying for them. I don't really want to put my own in here. Which countries? Now I could have gone anywhere in the world for this, I tend to stick with countries where English is the first language as a default choice, just because English is my first language. It makes it easier to interview people, but you could go more broadly, you can go more narrow, depending on, you know, if there's something you particularly want to do. But fluent English for this one. I wasn't expecting it to be too hard to find people, because this is quite a broad topic. So therefore I'm not overly worried about being restrictive on this. And you can see here, very broad, we've got 5,000 people from. That screener survey is set up here inside the platform. Just move me out of the way again. And actually you can see here, that's not quite capturing it inside the screen. Let's zoom out a little bit. There we go. And so if we zoom in here, you can see question 1. I started to ask the same question. So actually, if I go back to version 1, you've got the question that ChatGPT gave me here. So give me the online survey. And then I've said, please provide the link, because I got some real garbage in the first set of responses, and I just wanted to make sure that I told people what I needed from them so that they could give me the best answer possible. As I said, they're rejecting anything from over 6 months, rejecting people who didn't pay for it themselves. These pieces here, motivation, first time. Other learning options did you consider? We want to understand, what did they think the competition was? And do people consider this? You know, is this a purchase where people are actively making a decision between several different options? Or is this something where, you know, maybe I just see something and it meets my needs, and therefore I take it straight away? Outcome they wanted, and we'll have a look at some of the ones I've rejected here. But also, how much money did you spend on this? Please include currency. In the first version of the screener, I asked, how much did you spend on this? I don't think we asked how much money specifically. And so often people would respond and it would be like 8 hours or 20 minutes or something like that. So they were reading this and interpreting it as how much time did they spend on it. And obviously we want to know how much it cost them. And then in this one here, just so that we can actually share these things with you, am I allowed to do that? Okay, so let's zoom back out again. So that's the screener survey that you have here. How do you want to do this manually? In this case, I'm using premium screening. It's something that we paid for. That allows me to message people directly. So if I want more information, I can go to them and send them a message and do that. In terms of the activity here, so it's moderated. It's 1 participant per session. I'm doing that remotely, and I'm doing that 60 minutes. So I've just hooked that up to my Google Meet, which is pretty easy. And then just, you know, I want them to make sure that they've got a computer with a webcam, stable internet, stuff like that. In this case here, I only wanted 4 participants, and I decided to give them $75 each. I probably could have got away with less, but the more you pay, usually the better class of sort of person that you get coming through. So this isn't me being like negative to anybody, but I want somebody, if I'm paying a bit more money, people put a bit more effort in. When you're paying a relatively low amount, people will throw their hat in the ring to do it, but they don't put a hell of a lot of effort into the answers that they're giving you. And then the title and the description. So there we are. And then in terms of here's the participants. So you start to see all these individuals here who've come through. These are largely the unqualified ones. And then let's go to the removed ones first, just so you can see what's gone on here. So whoever this chap is, not fit. Let me start zooming in a bit more as well. So you can see some details about who the person is and what they've done. But in this case here, I started to see this. It's a course, but this is like a really in-depth graphic design course. And that's not really what Janis is offering. So when I talk about competitive offerings, what do I want to do? Well, I want to talk to people who are buying something online, but is he really going to go and start up some competitor to the University of Arts in London who's going to teach something like this? I suspect not, so therefore we don't really want to have that in our recruitment screener. Now, some of this stuff is quite interesting. But one of the best things about user interviews is they can tell you when it's copied and pasted, which does often indicate that somebody's just got that from ChatGPT. You also end up with these really wordy pieces. Like for $75, somebody's likely to say something. Have a look with one of the ones that we've accepted, but you're likely to get something a lot shorter and snappier, and also something that's not really written in great English. The way people actually respond to questions online is very different to maybe the way that they would get an answer from ChatGPT. And similar here. So, you know, I just didn't like the fact there was too much of these flags here, and it wasn't really something we were going for. Let's have a look at another one that we've rejected. So here, one of these sort of Udemy courses that somebody's gone through here. Academic, taking lots of notes and lectures, uploading for use online. You know, again, this isn't necessarily what we wanted to go for. We weren't trying to get somebody who was doing visual note taking. That was something that Janis said he didn't want to go for. So I didn't want to eliminate everybody who was doing that, but we got tons of people who were coming through for it. So I thought, well, you know, we've only got 4 interviews. We don't want to go too crazy. If we have a look at the ones, let's have a look at an example of one that was approved. You'll see something slightly different in the screener. So in this case, sketchnoting was fine, but in this one here, communicating with visual notes by a specific person. And so I thought, well, actually, that is communicating with visual notes is something that Janis talks about in his content. It's all about taking an idea and distilling it into the simplest possible visual that we could actually represent. Born at St. last 6 months, paid for himself, lifelong learner. So sometimes you find people that do this. You find people who've got budget set aside and they go on lots of courses a year. You find others that don't set aside budget for courses and they just spend every now and again. So this is it. And then you can start to see he's actually given me competitive course, and he's given me some reasons for why he was rejecting this. So he didn't like the yearly membership. So that to me tells me that there's a bit of a struggle there. I've actually had to put some thought into this, and I'm not just buying. I don't think people ever buy anything on impulse, but at least there's a lot of thought behind it. Aesthetically pleasing notes, yeah, that's fine, cool. And then somebody browsing Reddit. So again, this is quite an interesting story, but you can see compared to something that comes out of AI, you've got sort of an actual story. Like here, this answer is written in a way that people would talk if I was asking that person this in like if it was an in-person conversation. Somebody says, I wanted to in honesty figure out we're going to do this, versus the answers you get from AI, which are, they sound very comprehensive, but are often just gibberish. So anyway, there we are. That was a set of people that we'd signed up to here. I've got 1 still scheduled. There are 3 that I've completed so far, and all of these have got slightly different reasons behind them. So there you have it. This is us setting up a recruitment screener and interviewing people who've purchased something else. And this is some of the thought process that goes behind the scenes of getting the right person to talk to. Depending on what you sell, you can be more or less targeted here. So sometimes we're able to laser it right down into the particular vendors that we would go for. So when I ran an interview for data catalog providers, I already had been in that space. We used to sell these things, so we knew who the real players in the market were. And even if you got like a really niche one, you still recognized it and you could tell that they bought the right thing. In this case, this subject is so broad. You had everybody from somebody who's going to like the School of the Arts to somebody who signed up for a £15 course on Udemy or whatever, and some people who are signing up for Skillshare. And Skillshare was quite a challenging one because it came up a lot, but actually what I found was a lot of people had either signed up and got a free trial, or they were already members of it, and therefore they were taking a course that they'd already kind of paid a longer subscription for. So we had to weed those ones out because I wanted somebody who signed up specifically for this particular set of information and had to overcome the fact that, well, actually I'm signing up for a whole year. And we did get one example of that in the research as well that you'll see. So there you are. That's how I set up an interview screener on User Interviews. The process is exactly the same on Respondent, slightly different technology, but the goal is the same. You want to ask questions to help you work out what did they buy, are they the actual person that purchased it, how much did they pay, and do they have enough knowledge in their answers? Are they giving me enough in these answers to the screener to give me confidence that I'm going to get a good story from them? Is there some tension there? Is there something of interest within it? And then, most importantly of all, do I believe these answers are genuine, or do I feel like this is somebody who's copying and pasting stuff out of ChatGPT? Because if it is, then I might be wasting my time. I might be coming in and interviewing somebody who's either not got a story to tell or isn't as articulate, and that's going to waste my time and my money that I'm paying for. So we're very strict on this. It's really important to get it right, because if you get this right, you set yourself up to succeed with the rest of the research. Good luck.